wonder why you keep getting pulled into toxic relationships even though you know they're bad for you? You meet a woman and she's intense, she's exciting, you feel seen, but months later you're left feeling drained, anxious, questioning yourself, and a part of you goes, well, why do I keep doing this? And so today I want to break that cycle down for you and give you a tool to finally shift this. So firstly, when you're young, love isn't always safe. So maybe you had to be the strong one. Maybe you came from conditions, to stay quiet, don't cry, don't need too much. So you learn to perform for love in order to earn it. And so that only tends to create deep emotional a wound in you, that belief that you're not enough as you are. And so your ego, your mind survival system steps in to protect you. And so it says, well, if I'm more patient, if I'm more giving, if I'm more successful, if I'm more rich, then maybe this time I will be chosen. But here is the trap. Your ego isn't drawn to what is good for you. It's drawn to what is familiar. And because it's familiar, it could also equate to chaos, because that is kind of childhood. That is what you were used to, what made you feel like at home. Even if it was a happy childhood or unhappy childhood, it made you feel safe, whatever that dynamic was. And that shows up in hot and cold behavior, mood swings, emotional unavailability. And so your wound says, well, let me earn it. Let me fix her. Let me prove that I am good enough. And so this is how nice men, kind men, loyal men, steady men get trapped in these toxic dynamics. Not because they're weak, because they're not, but it's because their inner child is still trying to win a game that they never chose. And the reason why I know this man so well, to be quite frank, is because I have been watching him my entire life, which is my father. My father is that man who is extremely nice. He lacked boundaries. He's super emotionally unavailable, detached, avoidant, all of those characteristics, right? And so it doesn't make him a bad person, but it makes him a bit unaware. And even though he literally has taught me so many amazing things about life, how to be a good human being, how to give back, all those things have come from him. Thank you for that. But things like boundaries, that is something that I learned as a child. I learned that you don't need boundaries. You can let people walk over you and treat you however the way that they want to, when in reality, when you tend to do that, you think, oh, I'm being a good human being and I'm being this amazing person. But in reality, what you're doing is you're disrespecting yourself. And also you are pouring from an empty cup. If you feel, diminished as a person, your value is diminished, you're getting criticized, you're in relationships that are really hurting your soul, and you think, well, I'm just trying to fix that person, I'm just trying to help them. What you are doing then is you really are doing it for a selfish reason. And again, there's a lot of different moving parts to this, a lot of different stories and scenarios this can happen in. But to be quite frank, a lot of the times when people are nice, they're doing it for validation. They're doing it for the other person to like them, so that person finally feels seen and heard and wanted and loved. And so you're doing it not because you have unconditional love and you don't even care if that person loves you back. You're doing it because you want something from them. You want them to love you back. You want them to give you a compliment. You want them to make you feel like you're chosen, like you deserve this and you are enough. By the way, this is what I saw my father doing his entire life. And guess what? Guess who else did it after him? Me. I was that person who was nice because I wanted things out of people. I wanted people to say like, oh, she's really just a great person. And I wanted people to like me. I wanted people to choose me. But when you're doing that again, you're not coming out of self-love. You're not coming out of love. You're coming out of a need. You're coming out of, I need this in order to feel complete. But the reality is you'll never feel complete because other people, other, circumstances, success, money, wealth, whatever, it will never bring you true satisfaction. It will never make you feel completely whole. And the reality is that we really don't need anything. We are perfectly fine just the way that we are. But because of society, because of programming, because of our parents, childhood, getting bullied in school, whatever happened in your past, those, that programming has given you a narrative, a story that you need to get this degree in order to feel loved by your parents. You need to pay for this woman's bag in order to feel wanted and loved. These are, again, narrative stories that you have created due to your past scenario, your past experiences. But now it is your job as a man, as a grown adult, to take a look at yourself. And a lot of the times, what I notice as a men's dating coach is that a lot of men are not telling themselves the full truth. They are hiding behind a facade. And again, women, a lot of women do the same thing, but I'm talking to men. The men that I talk to, usually, by the way, I have been raised in a childhood, and I go back to this because I feel like, I don't know, that's just the way I explain things. But in my childhood, I have kept so many secrets. My dad didn't want to, wanted me to hide this. My mom wanted me to hide this. And so I always was around lies, around just BS, okay? And so now that I work with my clients, for me, my main goal, my main focus is the truth. What is your truth? And why are you hiding behind BS? Why are you telling your friends a story that isn't true, that it's not how you feel? Why are you telling your wife a different story? Why are you telling your girlfriend a different story? I recently had a client who came to me who was very just confused with the truth. And this is why I always tell men, honestly, everybody, always talk to somebody that is not in your circle. Talk to somebody different. And the reason is because usually people in your circle, you're not going to be honest with them. For the most part, most of us are not telling everybody how we actually feel. We are kind of like, sugarcoating it and saying the best version of it. So we don't either, we don't want them to feel bad for us, or we don't want them to get stressed out. And that's like an honest, you care for that person. That's okay. But most of us, we're not really being truthful. And so what this client said to me is that he was in a relationship with a woman for 2 years. Actually, no, it was longer. It was like 3.5, 4 years, sorry. Yeah, it was longer. And he said that when we sleep together, I am not attracted to her. Like, I can't fathom. I don't know how to say this. I don't even know how I'm going to say this right now, but I can't even fathom to do it with her. And so this is what I'm talking about, is that there's so many men out there that don't want to be honest with their partner. And again, it's because they obviously care about that person. But what is really the truth of this? And I know this is like a totally different topic, but when you don't tell the person that you are in a relationship with that you are not attracted to them, or there's some deeper issues or whatever it is, you basically are dragging them along a moving car. You literally are wasting forget about you. You're wasting another human being's life, time, where they could meet somebody who they are, that person is attracted to them and they are attracted to. Wow, I can't speak. I'm too excited right now. But you get what I'm talking about. So every time, every single day that you live in this lie, this fake freaking bullshit that you tell yourself and you tell your friends, you're wasting your precious life, the life that will never come back again. Before you even work on being honest with yourself and other people, what I would recommend is learn, it's not really learning, but it's a skill that you develop over time, is just being aware of how honest you're being in that moment. How many times do you make stuff up just in order for that person to like you back, so you don't have to deal with the confrontation and the awkwardness and uncomfortableness? Because guess what? In life, you're going to be uncomfortable. You are going to have uncomfortable conversations with your partner, with the woman that you want to marry, relationships. it is inevitable. And I think that a lot of times with dating, we're like, oh, it's so fun. And yeah, let's go have a drink and have dinner. But then we forget that after that honeymoon phase, that is when the shit hits the fan, because a lot of the times we are living this delusion la la land that life is just meant to be easy and fun, and we're just meant to have drink and smoke weed and just be high all the time and numb our pain. But that is just not true, because after a couple of months you're going to realize, like, oh my god, we're not aligned in any of our goals or vision. I lost my job. All these things happen in life. So you really need to make sure that the person that you're dating or you're in a relationship with, that they are going to be there for you when these things happen, because they will. They will. Hardships are going to come. Like, I feel like we haven't been told this as children. I mean, at least I wasn't. Actually, no. I was told that life was very difficult. There was no upside. There was no good parts of life. It was just all difficult. So, I was on the very other spectrum of this. And the reason why we go through this is not because the universe or God wants to hurt us or harm us and wants to see us depressed and sad. It's really, we go through these hardships, losing a job, bad breakup, divorce, losing a friend's life or family member's life or whatever. Is there just a fly? Where do I live? Okay, so anywho's, so all of these things are meant to test us, test our patience, test our love, test our integrity as a person. And also, one of the biggest lessons I feel like we all here to learn is to not identify as a race, as a gender, and right now I feel like we're doing it more than ever. Honestly, there's New Earth. I don't know if you guys know Eckhart Tolle, but he wrote a book called New Earth. There is a divide within the world. Again, this is how you guys are like, what are you talking about? Why are you going all the way there? But this is just how we talk, okay? So, I do believe there's a divide in the world right now where there's a lot of people that are in spirituality, they're waking up, they're becoming aware, whatever. And then there's another spectrum of people that are so closed off, they're so black and white, and they're like, yeah, we want to kill people, and we want to, wars, and we're so far away in our mindset, with so many different countries or whatever. That's a whole different topic that I'm not going to get into. But what I'm trying to say really is that in life, you're going to go through pain. It's just inevitable. And so life is beautiful, life is amazing, and I don't want to ever say life is, it's so painful. No, life is amazing. But also we need to be honest with the fact that there's going to be challenges. And so if you're going to choose a person to be in a relationship with that gives you no peace of mind, that as soon as you come home, you're bombarded by lists and fights and arguments, and it's just toxicity. It's, emotional abuse. It's walking on eggshells. It's not being able to share how you really feel. All of these things, they are going to be so detrimental to your soul, to your life. And so I feel like if that is a home that you're slowly building with a person, and a lot of men do this unknowingly, and I did this for a very long time, so we're all we all live and learn, which is why I want us to be very cognizant of the woman that you choose to get in a relationship with, the woman that you choose to date, and not just base it out of how attracted you are to her. Base it on her. Of course, you have to be attracted to her, I get that, but also base it on what are her life goals, what is her life vision, what is the character of this woman. If she hits a person with her car, is she that person who's gonna look after that person, or is she gonna drive off? I feel like these are things that you need to understand about that person. And just by having date nights at bars and clubs and strip clubs, and then, just going on vacation, but not really getting to know the depths of that person and who this person truly is, that is where this chaos, divorce, losing money, losing your business, and that's what leads to the demise of your soul, your ego death, basically. And I feel like people that need to go through their ego death, it's a very important lesson for a lot of us to go through this, the dark night of the soul, because when we don't go through it, we then either harm ourselves or we harm other people. The method that I teach my clients is called the fall method, because most men don't fall for the right woman, they fall into a cycle. So here's what it stands for. F stands for familiarity trap. So you're not choosing what is good for you, you're choosing what is familiar. Your body is basically reliving the past. And the reason why you're reliving the past is because we as human beings don't like the unknown. We know that if we go into the unknown, we don't know if we're going to be alive or dead. So we would rather stay in what is comfortable, what we already know. We know that this demon already. Let's just deal with this demon. We don't need to look for other demons. We know how to, we have a coping mechanism, because most of us in childhood, we have developed a coping mechanism, which then leads to how you will behave in relationships. A is for abandonment of self. So this is where you silence your needs, you tend to overgive, and you also are trying to be enough instead of realizing that you already are. A lot of these traits actually show up when you start dating. And a lot of people think, well, I didn't see anything or nothing, everything seemed normal. But then when you really dissect it, which is what I help my clients do, I really ask those questions that gets men thinking like, oh wait, yeah, you're right. Majority of us know exactly what we need to do. The issue is that we don't take those steps because of fear, because of judgment of what other people are going to say about myself and my relationships and my life, because we're so egocentric. We want our life to look amazing. We want it to be perfect. We want people to look at us and say, wow, what a beautiful life you have. But in reality, I know this is from Eckhart Tolle, but you are life. You don't have a life. You are life. Think about that for a second. You can do all the work in the world, but your patterns, your negative thoughts, it will still show up. A lot of people think, oh, once I do the work, my life is going to be so easy. My relationships are going to be great. I'm going to be so rich and everything's going to be fantastic. Again, another delusionment that we live in that is incorrect. There's nobody in life that has everything going for them. Nobody has the best career, money, plus best relationship, plus best health, plus, their family, they have a great relationship with their family. Nobody has everything. And if there is, please let me meet this person, because I would love to ask them a bunch of questions. Because I would love to know if there's any human being out there that actually exists without any problems, without any, issues in life. If you feel like abandoning yourself and overgiving is going to get you the woman, I want you to really think about this. Would a woman that is really connected to herself, like she's completely whole, she's happy, she's done the work, it's, she's not perfect, she has a lot of work to do still, and that's okay. Do you think she would really want to be with a man who tends to pour from an empty cup, who tends to think that he constantly needs to prove in order to be loved by her? Do you think a woman like that will find that attractive? I want you to really sit and think about it. And again, this is the awareness portion that most people lack. And so if you have no awareness, you might not even know that you do this in relationships or while you're dating. So I wouldn't even get into the deep part of this until and unless you learn or you develop the skill of awareness of yourself, of your patterns, of your truth, without blaming another person, without blaming your parents. You really are just aware and you're present, and you know that you are you. Your decisions are coming from you. All your past relationships, whatever has happened, you played a part in it. Once you see life from a perspective of you're not the victim, life is not happening to you, it is happening for you. That is when you truly will get into alignment with your truth, your power. L is for a looping ego. And so your ego says, well, you know what? If I can fix this, then I win the success. And so it loops you into the pain over and over and over again. Because you're looking at this woman like a project. After I fix this, I will finally feel worthy. I finally will feel chosen. And so I just want you to get aware of your ego in life in general, even with your business, with work. Just get aware of where your ego starts coming in, and that is where I feel like a majority of the problems come from your ego, even though ego is very important for us to have, but it is really just being aware of how it is playing into your life. And lastly, L, learn a new way. This is where true healing happens, and so you start choosing peace, not chaos, and you start honoring your gut, your intuition, and then you also stop mistaking anxiety for love. And so that is where everything shifts. And so if you ever said, why do I keep attracting the same kind of woman? Well, this is why. It's not your fault, but it is your responsibility now. You don't need to become colder. You need to become more honest with yourself. And so if this hit home and you're ready to shift this pattern, you can apply to work with me below or somewhere on the screen. And so I help men lead with their heart and stop falling for chaos and start building love that actually feels like peace. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next one.